Good evening. Let's take F. And I can't see anything above, but we can find room for 3 below. I went for a walk late the night before, about 3 a.m. by my watch. I'd had trouble sleeping. The air in my room covered over with a heavy liquid that stuck to my skin and soaked into my pores. There was no real direction to where I was going, but my feet followed one another along the quiet residential streets. My steps brought me to a small park that runs adjacent to a railway line. The park is no more than 100 meters wide, but stretches for 2 or 3 kilometers. I'd been there on numerous occasions, which I guess is why my body brought me there. The area is relatively open and contains a variety of logically placed trees following the path. However, about halfway down the path is a patch of dense woodlands, which is where I chose to explore. Through the brush there was a clearing, open only to the view from the train tracks above. Inside, there was overgrown grass that tickled my hairy legs. In the center of the clearing there was a slightly oversized man. He was not overweight, as his body sat just proportionately swollen. Added still was moss that covered his entire body. As I arrived, the man slowly flushed open his eyes. We stood a bed's width apart and looked into one another. His eyes sat white inside the dark moss. He reached out his hand about 4 inches from the center of his chest. I started to notice his breathing, which rotated unevenly, as if his lungs were pressing against each other with each breath. I reached out and wrapped my index finger and thumb around the fat part of his palm. The soft, fluffy moss welcomed my touch, and I felt sleep like I hadn't before. His lips trembled and slowly parted. I've watched the trains pass overhead many times. I imagined myself on that train, going to wherever I'm going, to see this clearing only to never see it again. His words made no other sound, stopping immediately right after the last inflection. From down here, the trains pass as Soapy walked. I've watched the people slipping off each other's rounded edges. He stopped and I knelt down to his hand. With my 2 front teeth I nibbled and pulled out a few strands of moss, as though they were hairs on my fingers. But that's okay. Now if you please, have a wonderful evening.